Most High put together. We gon' see. In times. Serpents lurking, watchers watching, Yasharala stay on point. They lurking. We under the covenant, we ain't got no other choice. Gird your loins up, armor up, cause it's time for war. We the generation that's gon' get on one accord. Serpents lurking, watchers watching, Yasharala stay on point. We under the covenant, we ain't got no other choice. Gird your loins up, armor up, cause it's time for war.
Praise the Most High. You believe in the Most High?
I don't believe in God, but
What do you believe in?
nothing. I've always wanted to.
Okay.
What are you preaching?
So we're preaching this. I'll tell you what we're preaching, right? So bring out the book of Hebrews, chapter 3 and verse 4, yeah?
Hebrews, that's good.
So the Hebrews were the Israelites, the people that Moses took from Egypt, yeah?
I was listening to you. So.
All right, well, okay, well, God bless you anyway, man.
No.
All right. Hello.
Well, just there, I'm there.
When we walk this back, we've got to together.
So you said you believe that there's nothing, right?
I believe in science.
Okay.
However, I look at people, man.
So what is it about science that appeals to you? Why do you believe in science?
Yeah.
But why do you believe in evolution?
Because I believe that as humans, I don't want to argue with you, but
don't worry.
I believe. Okay, thank you. I believe that from evolution we became from there.
Like I know we all like we were schooled in England, bro. We know the evolution doctrine. They tried giving us that crap in TV.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna tell you, though, bro, is why do you choose to believe in that?
I'm a very scientific. I like learning about. It's not religion. I like to believe in science.
Okay, so that's like something that you find interesting. You like science because you find it interesting, right? So check this out, right?
Okay.
So would you say if something can be proven, that would make you believe it?
Very much so. I'm very open.
So if it could be proven that science and evolution is all false, would you stop believing that even though you like that?
I would, because I don't know how.
Okay. So here's how we can prove that, right? So bring this out. So bring out Hebrews chapter 3 verse 4, right?
Is this true?
This is the Bible, bro. The Bible was written by Israelites, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And we are Israelites, bro. You know the Jews in the Bible, they were actually black.
Really?
Yeah. You know when Moses took the Jews out of Egypt? Know that, he saved them from Egypt.
I know all of us, everyone of we all began from the mainland.
Yeah, the Africans are black, right? All right, exactly. So the Israelites were slaves in Egypt. Egypt's in what continent? All right. Well, anyway, let's get into it, yeah? So bring out that.
Hebrews 3 and 4. For every house is built by some man.
So do you agree? Is the Bible right? Every house is built by a man?
Yeah.
So there's no house that was just evolved from a pin. The house evolved from a lamppost. The house evolved from a bike. No, it was built as a house,
by a constructionist, a man.
Yeah, someone built it, right?
Yeah.
So read that again.
For every house is builded by some man.
Yeah, read on.
But he that built all things is God.
But he that built everything is God. So the Bible gives you a principle that you can prove. Objective standard is there is nothing that comes of itself. Everything has a creator. A building was made, a lamppost was made, yeah? And guess what, Robert? We can logically deduce from that logic that man had to also be made. Because where did you come from, right?
I think my family.
And where did they come from?
They came from many. Can I get an argument? Do you want an argument?
Before we get, yeah, of course we can go to that again. But let me just lay the premise, right? And get Romans chapter 1 real quick. So you came from your parents and vice versa, they came from their parents. So from that, we can logically, scientifically prove that life, you're alive, right? Life comes from life, right?
Yes.
So if life, we can prove from observation, life comes from life, there must be a source of life that all life comes from, right? Because life goes back to life indefinitely, yeah? But then Where does it end? Because somebody's parents, you know, they can't just be parent. There must be an origin, right? So, go on.
Okay for me to argue.
So it's okay for you to push back, but here's the last thing I was going to say. So here's why your scientific belief falls short with evolution. You say life ultimately didn't come from life. Life started from non-life. Life started from an explosion, because evolution relies on the Big Bang. So you can never scientifically prove that an explosion creates life, can you?
So,
But we can prove that life creates life. So it must be God's life that gave us life. But go ahead, what you got?
1 second. I'm not trying to.
We're not afraid of arguments.
Yeah.
Pull no punches. Bring it all out.
I'm not trying to. I'm go against your religion. Yeah. Yeah. How did you know? How did you know that life came from life?
Because I know I came from my mother and father's life.
Yeah.
Their life combined made mine. I know the dogs I see didn't just come out of an explosion. The dogs came from life. I know the birds came from life. Life comes from life. Life doesn't come from an explosion called the Big Bang. We can observe and know, scientifically prove, life comes from life. So we must all come from the life of God. He is the originator. We can prove life comes from life, right? Can you prove that life comes from life? Well, let me ask you that question. Can you prove life comes from life?
What I believe is,
Go on.
life comes from the Big Bang. It's was evolution.
Yeah, go on.
In fact, ignore the Big Bang. Yeah. For now, life came from evolution over a slow period of time.
Yeah.
Fish grew legs. It evolved mutants and it survived the land. Yeah.
Well, that's your belief, right? But,
Yeah.
but how did the fish grow legs? So they were in water.
Yeah.
And then one day they were like, I want to manifest some legs. Let me think really hard. Now I can grow some legs. Now let me walk on the land. Like, how did that work? It doesn't make sense.
So it's not necessarily a.
Like, why would the fish evolve to go on the land
So
if they're already in the water? Why would they adapt to a terrain that they're not part of?
I understand that. However,
Yes, my brother.
it's not necessarily.
God bless. Shalom. Go on.
Do you know what? I have many of friends who are Christian, Muslim,
Yeah.
and I do agree with you. I know what you mean.
Because you know it's ridiculous, right? Like fish just one day growing legs and climbing out. That's like saying one day my dog always wanted to swim like a fish. So one day he grew a mermaid's tail, and now my dog can swim in the water. And then one day, because humans we want to be free and fly like birds, one day I woke up and I've got feathers. Like that's evolution, bro. It don't make sense.
However,
Go on.
evolution occurs over a long period of time.
So the evolution theory came about 200 years ago. You know that, right?
Really?
Yeah. Came by Charles Darwin, Galapagos Islands, right? So 200 years ago was when he came to that idea, yeah? But to observe evolution, you need millions of years, innit? To see the changes, don't you? Yeah, go on.
I've lost my friends.
It's all good.
We have a very good chat. Yeah?
Well, brother, we're gonna preach some more. So I think we're gonna spar out time. But all we're saying, bro, is you can't prove what you believe. Because check this out. Can you show me an explosion that created a life?
Not necessarily an explosion.
Can a scientist make an explosion? Because science to believe in it. It's got to be observable. It's got to be something you can test, and it's got to be something you can repeat. So if science is going to propose that we came from an explosion called the Big Bang, they have to prove that explosions can create life, don't they?
So,
do they have to prove that? The scientists have to prove
every
that.
person who was born from a nebula. Star.
Can you prove that?
Because
All right.
Can you prove that God created everything?
I can prove that life comes from life. Yeah. And then the logical conclusion would be God, because bring out this verse, Romans chapter 1, right? And we'll leave it here because it's been nice talking to you. But we're gonna start preaching back to what we were doing before. But because I think we've gone as far as we can. But bring out Romans 1, bring out verse 20, go down to verse 23.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being misunderstood by things that are made.
Read that again, brother.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen,
So the Bible says the invisible things of God are clearly seen. So obviously we can't see God right now. God is a spirit. He's invisible. We don't see him on this realm of existence. But it's saying we can clearly see God through what we can see. So we can deduce and discern God through creation. The same way, did you see the builder that made that? You didn't see him in it. But you... but you didn't see the builder that built the building, did you? But you know the builders that constructed the building exist, don't you?
I know the construction workers you need, yeah.
Yeah, you know they existed, don't you? Because the fact there's a building there is evidence somebody made it, yeah? Because it's completely unproven that a building can build itself. So a building is evidence there was a builder. A car is evidence of an engineer, right? So check it out. The Bible is saying that even though we can't physically see God, he can prove he exists just by logical deduction. You know what God did? He put something called a brain in your head, and then he gave you something called eyes and ears and intellect and perception to perceive certain things imply certain things. So a building implies a builder. Creation implies a creator. That's how we can discern there is a God. It's the most logical conclusion. Well, that's good for that.
So,
Yeah,
evolution, I'm sorry.
bring out Genesis 1, bro.
Do you know about the something ape theory? The ape had some marijuana and they divided.
Oh, right. I don't know about that, but you know what, bro? Here's the last thing we're gonna leave you with, yeah? Because I think it's beneficial, right? But you're speaking like you can't see no possibility for mankind other than us being involved. But go on.
I'm a mix. I don't know about God. I don't know about science. I don't know about either.
Okay.
Because
have you ever read the Bible?
So when I went to primary school, we got a small like.
Okay, so a little insight from a small thing.
And I read.
But have you ever read them?
I've never read them.
Wouldn't it be logical to look through both sides of things?
It would. Yes.
As you look through science, what about looking through this and seeing your CV? Are you offering Bible?
No.
So we don't have Bibles in sales, or you can buy one online, bro. Go on Amazon.
Go on your phone, on the Play Store, on the App Store, you can get a Bible there as well.
Many Bibles are different, are they?
So the differences in the Bible is like when you read our Bible, yeah. King James, this is the Old English, right? We like the Old English because it makes a good, accurate translation of like the Hebrew translation, Bible English. But the different translations just are there to make it more easy to read. So you've got translations called like your so this says B's and vowels. We can get another Bible like this says B. And there's even a Jamaican Bible that speaks in patois.
I have a friend who's Jamaican that I would like to.
Alright, sweet. So all I'm saying is just look for Bibles and buy a Bible that you can understand. Don't push the Bible, bro. But yeah, it's all good. Yeah, man. What you saying, bro? Go on.
I don't even buy it.
Yeah, man.
Yes, so you know what? You know the Bible. Yeah. So, whatever the religion, bro. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Alright.
Right. So, when all of our little wolf go, and we pass away, we wanna know what on our buying box. Yo, Lich.
Anyway, yo, check this out.
He gon' send his hand. Destruction gotta come, that's how he get us out this lane. The devil working hard, trying to get us out his plane. His sheep hear his voice, so he can't get us out his hand. We gon' trust the Son of Man, blow your wings, Father. Your kingdom coming, we just trying to make it in, Father. Rather we